So today I'll just do a short video for 30 minutes at least because I have to do my public speaking video for 5 minutes about how people benefit from vitamins. And I'll just be talking about my experiences with people online first. Then afterwards, I'll talk about how people behave towards me and communicate with me in person. So the first thing I want to just talk about is when I first joined the community online. Uh, when I first joined an online community was when I was 14 years old, and that was during 2007. It was during spring 2007, the first time I had my own laptop, and the first time I've purchased a console with the money that I pretty much made because I was selling video games to my friends in my class and from different classes so I can actually accumulate enough money so I can buy me a PlayStation 3. And people usually do not consider me as a social type, but I made enough money to go to Target with my mom and sister and purchase a PSP for around $700, which include a game and taxes. So as I started writing about pretty much, it doesn't matter what topic I talk about. As I just started writing online, I noticed that the way people spoke to me, which is familiar to the way people speak to me in person, I started learning that the way that people speak to me online is the way how my teachers in elementary school speak to me, such as the teachers in special ed. They talk to me as if I do not know any better, or as if I don't know any better than the people around me in my class. And they're supposed to be special ed students. They talk to me as if I'm mentally challenged, like I do not know pretty much what to do or what to say, as if I wasn't born with a mouth or born with communication skills. That's how to put it. Which was, yeah, it was catching my attention every time I'm being put in these situations. So I would have several people online on the community that would personally just talk about me on a thread, on a thread that doesn't have anything to do with the topic. They would say that I'm the dumbest person on the community. They would tell me that about you need to stop and read your sentence because they couldn't make out the sentence. When people are writing in all capital letters and they're spamming curse words and words that talks about the N word, and it wasn't really making any sense. But the people don't criticize them. When it comes to me, I would have people criticize the way I speak or the way I talk in person and online. I had a teacher in person would criticize the way I shake my head, but I said I saw several kids in my class, in my speech class, who actually shake their head in front of the teacher, and the teacher, Miss Brown, she never said anything to them. She let them actually get away with it. But for me, she pretty much lectured me for shaking my head. I just shake my head at one time. It was not like I always shake my head. So when I started to just interact with people online, make jokes, they tell me that my jokes are not funny. They tell me that the way I talk is dumb. I don't know how to communicate. They tell me that I can't spell for shit. And it was repeating. It was repeating over and over and over nonstop at me. Not not in a natural way that I would know how a human being would speak. So what I would do is start learning how they speak to others besides me, who does not really write properly, and I don't see them giving them any trouble. They give me so much trouble, and I just came there. Well, I just came to our community just to learn about hair, how to maintain my hair. You know, there's certain styles that African American wants for their hair, and I just, sometimes I just give my ideas about my how to maintain a hair, and they was laughing. They started laughing at the way I talk. I I would talk about how I use H2O spray and also a hard brush. I use some pomade for my hair, and they started criticizing me and they attacked me. Every time I talk, they have some sort of remark about me. There's never an intellectual conversation that I can have with them. They would have an intellectual conversation with other people, but when it comes to me, they talk in a way as if I do not know any better, just like the way my special ed teachers was talking. So this is one of the reasons why I started identifying this unusual behavior pattern from people and also communication pattern that repeats itself as if it does not know when to stop. It's just a nonstop. It's a nonstop communication that shows me how hostile the people get when I talk about my topics. So there was other websites besides a here community that I go to. I also go to a survey community, and even though I go to a survey community, the people also pick on my communication skill. They started telling me that my wording that my wording isn't clear. They're telling me that I use too much, that I'm using metaphors. They couldn't take me serious. They're telling me that I'm using oxymorons. They was just talking about literary elements when I'm just talking about surveys. I'm not even talking about any literary elements. And you're telling me that they couldn't take me seriously. So I started to really learn that this is not normal. Everybody is doing the same exact thing as how people behave towards me in person. And the people do not respect me as a human being. I don't even think they're talking to me as a human being. They talk to me in a weird way where other people do not talk to, or we could say other human beings don't talk to. They're not talked to like this. I don't see any human beings being spoken to with this fashion. So when I went online and I wanted to know more about the way people speak to me and the way they behave, I went on socialanxiety.com. Why I feel this way. I wanted to know the reason why I feel this way about human beings. So I was 18 years old at the time. 2000. This was October 2011, and I just started talking about my experiences with girls, and I would just get lectured by this person telling me, "Yo, you're just 18 years old. You're young. You don't know nothing about girls." I just talked about my experience, and the person would say, "I don't know anything about girls." They just used my age as an excuse to tell me that that I do not have any knowledge. It's always been this way, even no matter what age I am. I, I could be 11 years old, 12 years old. Everybody talk to me in a very rude way. They don't talk to me in a polite way. It makes you very it makes you very aggressive towards human being, right? But this is the case. Everybody talks to you this way, and why should you give any respect to another human being when you're being spoke to this way, and when you're being treated this way? Your behavior and communication is unhealthy. This shows me that I'm having an unhealthy experience with human beings. This is one of the reasons why I started having some sort of hatred towards human beings when I was a teenager. I feel that I don't need to be around no one, and I should be staying to myself. Even though I don't really stay to myself, I still try to interact with people because I had a therapist back in Florida who said that human beings are social creatures. They need to socially interact with one another to soothe their emotions. But when I try interacting with them, I get to the point that learning that something's really definitely wrong with them. I've had people online on the socialanxiety support.com who socially supported my ideas tell me, or you can say my experience. I came here to learn about my experience. I didn't came here to teach people about you know, to teach people. I came here to learn. But as I started, the longer I stayed in this community is when I started realizing that I was teaching people about people's behavior and communication. I didn't know that I was doing that until I had people online started lecturing my communication skills. When I use a particular wording in my sentence, they get really angry on how I use the words. And I would have moderators start telling me that I'm gonna get banned for using this particular word. And there was another person. I had several people online who just all of a sudden started personally attacking me out of nowhere. And I had the moderator is the one who's threatening me that I'm gonna get permanently banned if I keep this up. And I haven't pretty much. I know I'm doing something not to make people upset. I'm not making them upset. I'm just telling them my experience. I don't understand why they're so angry at my responses. I remember back in Florida when I was making a response to another person. I had or it was a girl, and then she came to my profile and she left a comment. You so stupid. She keep repeating. You're so stupid. You're so effing stupid. And then the moderator lectured me about my posts. But when other people post this particular way to me during that time, no one it was no one who came to socially support me. I've had people actually talk anyway how towards me, and the moderator respected what they were saying to me, even though it was inappropriate for the community. They're not showing that they're socially supporting me. Everybody signed up for the community to socially support one another. So when I started talking about my experiences and relating to the original poster topics, it's when I started realizing that the way people spoke to me, even though they're not replying to me, they spoke as if they're talking to me. And I didn't understand what was that. Why they're starting to speak like they're talking to me. But anyway, the most time that I was able to sit down and concentrate on my ideas was pretty much when I went to Lake Cecile and Florida. This is a different hotel. I was able to sit. It seems that I was able to sit down and concentrate. It seems like my thought process was resonating with the way I feel, and I was able to. It's somehow the supercomputers, or you can say the managers, was able to interpret that the meaning that I was using at that time was very accurate. It was very detailed. They gave a description that this person knows what's happening. So I started talking about how there's people, or you say there's groups of people, or you say groups of families living in a hotel, and that there's someone who put them in a hotel so they can be in this situation. And I started talking about the kids. I started talking about the government. I started relating to it and the way people behave. I just started using my own ideas to the point I started creating my own concept. I At that time I never read any books. The only thing that I possibly read is was about social engineering and also how to how to promote my website that I was trying to make money off of. It was about video games or getting freebies for video games. That's basically it. The people around me, when I talk about my ideas, like for instance, my mom pretty much kept saying that whatever I'm saying is nonsense until she started realizing that the way people behave around her, like for example, her sister Denise, the timing of her coming in the house, she just arrived in the house out of nowhere, and then my mom said, "You're right. The machines are making her do that." It's funny how she just comes in the same time, and she started putting on these behaviors over and over. And I uploaded my aunt on YouTube back at around was it 15? I believe it's 2016 or 15, and I showed you how she was projecting these behaviors. And even though it was one person speaking to me about it, they said that they never saw something like this before. Another person mentioned about ghetto people and welfare. But the way people speak is ridiculous. This is what drives me to start writing online. I don't really have that much interaction with people. I started realizing in 2018 the reason why I feel like I can't really connect with people is that someone is making sure to make the people not be sociable towards me. That's why I feel like if something is not right. Why is this happening? Why is this reoccurring? As if someone is keeping track of the communication between me and people. It's like, or you can say, keeping their distance away from me over and over and over. What's so special about me that I don't need to have anybody to interact with? That's why I stick to writing online than actually speaking. I'm not the really type of person to speak on pretty much like YouTube on a YouTube channel or videos, make videos. I'm a person that writes a lot, even even when the communication may not look the best at times due to not really interacting with much people, and I'm just pretty much staying with my language that I created myself. I'm just building up my own context that I've made from the environment that I was in, and I can just talk about them and share examples how people is doing this, complete strangers that I never met would just engage in conversation with one another about me, and this has been going on for a long time. Every time, every time I talk about people, it's when the people around me do not want to listen to me. I can understand the reason why people commit suicide. I believe that when you get to this point of not having any human interaction and being put in a situation countless of times where you're made to look like you don't want, or you say don't, or how can you put it? How can I actually phrase it? Made to look like you don't want to have any career. Show any interest in wanting a career or having a partner, and people are telling you that you're homosexual and or they're saying something about you. They're assuming something. But the problem is, why is it that there's more than one person saying this idea to you? I've had more than one person tell me that I'm homosexual. I had more than one person who told me that I don't want to get a job or I don't want to work. I had my aunt back in 2014 saying to my mom, "Your son doesn't want to work." And then my mom would tell me there would be a time or event where I'm in a situation where she does not have a job, even though she knows that I put it in. She would tell me, "This is the reason why people talk about you." And I'm a quiet person. I don't know what I ever did to people. I pretty much do what people told me to do. They said apply for a job application, talk to the people, and do that. They tell me when I'm in a doctor office and I'm trying to explain about my body to a person, how my left testicle is in pain. My my mom would tell me that I'm not explaining anything properly to a lady. She's telling me she always tells me this that I can't explain anything properly, or I'm not clear with the way I'm talking, even though I was clear. I don't think it's I don't think it's healthy for a person to be encountering people, more than one person, telling them that they're not clear or they can't explain themselves. This is unhealthy. This is one of the reasons why this is what drives me to keep writing on the internet. Behavior such as my mom and behavior such as my teachers in special ed and behaviors as people online encourage me to continue writing my ideas online. And this is one of the reasons why I will not stop, no matter no matter what gets in my way or how people criticize my communication skills. I had a person on YouTube last year lecture me about plural. Oh, you use this and this. You see, you have the s at the end, and then they make fun of me. Another person just came along out of nowhere and just made fun of me. Oh, and then they would say, "Oh, this is the reason why people." I'm like, who are these strangers? I'm writing from an Android. I was living in a shelter at the time. I can't find a good time to actually go to a library with my laptop and write ideas online. The end of 2018 is where it became difficult for me, right? Make sure that all the people from the shelter leave. Did you know every security guard who was in the shelter at the time that I first moved to the shelter during April 11, 2018 is weird to the point they got frustrated with the job and they pretty much all left during October 2018, including the case manager that me and my mom and sister had, Mr. We call him Mr. Sir Army, or you can say Mr. Albert Lewis. Even he got frustrated and he left. Everybody left. And the security guards that was put there was pretty much, how can you put it? They were so interested in me or keeping an eye on me. Do not know why. I usually give them code names. So, I just make fun of them with my mom, give them code names. I would name a person Uncle Ban Ban. I would name a person Uncle Meliotos. I would name the way they walk. Talk about their action a bit to help my mom and my sister understand their behavior. Code names is a good way. I learned from what I've learned on my own without the internet. I learned this pretty much on my own that giving people code names helps me understand their behavior, keep track of their behavior. So I started keeping track of the way they behave. There was a time that Mr. Bam Bam, the Caucasian man, he's a security guard, who yelled out my last name so loud. And he didn't have really much of a reason to yell out my name. He yelled out my name for no reason because I still had to go downstairs to meet with the case manager with my mom. And there was another time where he was talking and pretty much unusual. When I saw Mr. Jacob Humphreys, even Mr. Jacob Humphreys is his timing of being hired there in the shelter is unusual. You know, my mom's my mom. I made my mom think. Started going to deep thought. She started thinking over and over nonstop. She said, "It's funny how the shelter been here since 2011, and all of a sudden in 2019 of January, it's where to bring this job developer here. My mom started saying that my ideas about the multi-agent quantum AI computers governing the people and their environment is correct. And so is some of my subscribers and also people on the community. I feel as if I get bigger support, social support from the online community than YouTube because I'm able to engage in a conversation with people where I'm able to give them context and they give me context, right? Social. This is how social interaction is. You need social interaction to get context so you can use terms. I'm not around. I learned that I'm not around not that much people, as I had said earlier, due to the fact that the AI see that I pose a threat to the management program. So it needs to make sure to keep a straight line, where he prevents me and prevents the people from engaging in a conversation. I learned that the people around me think that they have this idea, this mentality, thinking that I'm either angry or I'm shy, which is not, which is incorrect. It's mismatched. They all have the same mentality about me, and that's incorrect. That's what the AI designed for them to perceive about my behavior. They take every action about me into something that pretty much never existed, so they can prevent themselves from interacting with me. It's ridiculous. So it's almost how long I've been recording this video. 27 minutes. A few more minutes because I have to do my recording. Now, when I think about how my special ed teacher had an IEP meeting with me, and she told me in the IEP meeting in front of my social study teacher. My social study teacher is Afro-Guyanese, and she's insisting that I need to read more books. And I'm saying to myself, something's not right. And then I compare this time with another time where I had a similar experience as how this lady was talking to me. I'm talking about my special ed teacher during the IEP meeting. And that particular time is when I was getting good grades in my class. I never got 90s in high school or you know or school period. I never got an A minus in school. It's pretty interesting how I'm getting good grades on my tests. I started out with a 30 something in a class test, and then I'm starting to shoot up to 80s and 90s. That's really amazing. This teacher is really good because I didn't really know. In a way, I was listening to his lectures and reading what he wrote on the board. I didn't actually look at the textbook, but I was reading a lot of books at the time. I had my special ed teacher said that I need to read more books. Then when I had to do some sort of evaluation, I had to go to some sort of evaluation for the reason why they need to keep me in special ed. And there was this lady, this African American lady, that was staring at me weird, making these funny faces at me when I'm reading, as if she just dislikes the way I read. She started criticizing the way I speak, or started mocking me on the way I use my words. And but this started when I was writing. She didn't. She was confused on the way I write, even though it was written clearly. She kept going at it, criticizing me on the way I write. Hey, you're not writing this way. Why are you writing the sentence this way? Why are you not writing the meaning this way? And then when I was speaking, reading out loud to her, it's where she starts criticizing the way I speak. You need to speak slower. Why you speak this? You need to speak slower. Stop speaking. Do you take a break when you you need to take a break each time you speak. The same way another person has spoke to this way towards me, but this is for writing. This is not for speaking. I had a professor telling me that the way I write is run off. Even though I was using information correctly, I was breaking down the ideas and using periods. I know punctuate. I know what punctuation to pause my. You know, when I'm speaking, I use specific punctuation to pause and also end the sentence to move on to the next sentence. I know the difference between capital letter and also a place and an event and people. And they're trying to convince me that I do not have any idea that what I'm writing or what I'm doing. Just like the people on the internet, which grabs they got my full attention. There's no way I could ignore something like this. I can't I can't ignore people who's behaving this way towards me. It's happened every single time. I would have people make corrections on my meaning, but they don't specify the reason why they're correcting my meaning. They just correct it and tell me that I don't know my language. I think that this is what made me think at the time when I was a teenager that the people are not sane. So this is it for this video. I just wanted to have a short talk about people's behavior and how this behavior is repetitive and going through them is not healthy for the human mind. I told this to the therapist who told me that you know, about human beings are social creatures. It's within human nature to interact with others. I said that the environment is very depressing, but that was when I was in Florida. Here is New York City is more depressing than Florida because I'm around more people, and the people here are pretty much socially incompetent. They're not able to express themselves using their intended feeling. It's as if their mind's been put into. It's as if someone had suspended their mind. So I told her that I need to train my brain to interpret the environment so I can explain the reason why I feel this way. That's why I said train my brain. I said the same exact thing online, and the person said that my writing is obscure. There's a different way. I've heard people said that my writing is just vague, something vague words or obscure. There's a different way. I'm like, wait, why are they using a different meaning to describe that my wording, my writing is unclear? It's not really discovered, or telling me that my prose is incoherent. Your writing, they seem to not make up the language. They seem to be ready to assume something about me without thinking it through or questioning me, and they prevent themselves from wanting to go to engage any further with me in a conversation or a discussion. They would say, "You never had an argument before?" God, God, sheesh. They get ignored. I've gone to the same thing online too, but not just writing. Playing a video game. I could play a fighting game and I would have a person say sheesh to me that I do not know how to play it, even though my game is laggy. They don't question me about what's happening on my side. They already know some sort of idea. They already got some sort of idea without me giving any information. But their idea is incorrect. So this is it for this video. There's a second person joining. You must have got some sort of email then. I really wonder who's the second person who's joined this live stream. I know several people who subscribe to my channel don't really interact with me, and I see most of the people on YouTube who interact with one another to get context. And it's funny how people subscribe but don't engage with the broadcaster or YouTuber. They're so tired. It's already been 36 minutes. I'm in the streaming anyway. Sorry. Looks like my technology is getting overheated. Oh man, such a drag. All my technologies in this place is getting overheated, and it's not functioning right.